Cheers!
Welcome to Movie Bitches!
I found out this week in the viewing party that my mom has been purposefully doing it out of sync with me.
Purposefully?
For reasons that escape me. I was like, she was like, oh, I was trying to be different. I was like, what do you mean? What's happened?
Cheers!
Welcome to Movie Bitches!
To Movie Bitches! I have to do it different.
You're doing it different on purpose? Why? We're supposed to be synchronized.
Okay, do it again.
You ready? Okay.
Cheers!
Welcome to Movie Bitches! Can't believe you're doing it wrong on purpose.
It was a failed experiment, but I did joke with Brian that he and I should try and do it just like your mom does.
Where she's horribly off?
Yeah, so that then you would be the only one that was off, and the three of us would be like, cheers, welcome to Movie Bitches. And you'd just be like off on your own, doing your own thing.
I'd be the loser.
Exactly.
Very nice.
RuPaul's Drag Race, season 12, episode 8. We're getting kind of close.
Right?
Well, this is the show that never ends because I don't know what they're going to do, but
I mean,
we'll see.
They're forced to not have a finale at this point?
I mean, at this point, what are they going to do? Zoom it? There was a funny joke that was like the picture of Ru from Project Runway. And it was like,
Girl.
What if they have to zoom it and Ru's forced to do her own makeup?
The shade.
Shade.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I want to do like a meme of like the Brady Bunch, you know, then that's how they did the finale. You know, the opening.
Oh, like where they're all zoomed.
They're all the squares, right? And like Michelle is Alice in the middle. It's great. So anyway.
First things first, shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink. Go to trywink.com/moviebitches to get $22 off your first month of wine. I'm just going to stick it right in Chanel.
Well, if you just, oh no, you don't actually have a table there. If you just,
no,
like, So I've coined a new term.
Oh.
Shenanigans. What is happening?
Shenanigans.
I'm mad.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots to talk about this episode, obviously, so we'll get into it. But yeah, I don't blame you.
I hated this episode.
I didn't hate it. It was weird. The vibe was weird the whole time.
The vibe was weird the whole time. There were moments I liked. There were things that were good, but on a whole, I hated this episode.
Sure.
Just between Bob and Ross and...
Oh, God. Oh, I know.
Like
Bob, who the fuck asked for him? He wasn't qualified. We'll get into it.
I have feelings about it. Anyway.
Second thing second, thank you to our Patreon subscribers. $5 a month more gets you early access. $10 a month or more. Ooh, jazz hands. Gets you jazz hands and access to our viewing parties. Third things third, make sure to subscribe and share whole. And make sure to click the notifications, turn all the notifications on. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. All of those good things.
Yes.
All that. Parsley, peppers, arugula, all that.
Cabbages, arugula, all of it.
Peppers, cabbages, arugula, all of that.
It's like Jan was like a slow burn where I always liked her, but then like subsequently looking back on each episode, I'm like, wait, she was great. Wait, she was fucking great. And I think it's their fucking editing. They're fucking gaslighting us.
There were certain things where I was like, well, that was actually pretty funny. Or like, oh, that was really kind of fun. And they didn't take the time to focus on it for whatever reason. And now it's like, yeah, when you go back and you're like, they could have jazzed it up.
They could have unced it. They really, I mean, I feel like this is a new thing. I know we call it the Monique Hart edit, but I feel like it's the Jan edit because it's Jan.
Why does everyone always choose Marsha? What does she have that I don't have? Am I invisible? Do I not have a voice?
Look how pretty you have gotten. Oh, those clothes.
They're literally giving her the Jan edit. It's weird.
It is, and I didn't know why.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know.
And I don't know why. I don't know why.
Should we talk about our shirts? Speaking of.
Ooh, yeah, so in her honor, we're wearing our fabulously designed shirts, thanks Rick, which are available at moviebitches.threadless.com. I don't know why I just grabbed my teeth, but I did.
Because it's very good jam.
It's very good jam.
What's his name, Jam?
Now, if she had done a commercial about Jan's jam,
Ooh, I love that.
Honestly, Jan.
So the girls walk into the workroom. Britta has gone home, and Jan is very upset.
So just distraught.
It was just making me laugh because it was like fairly evident that she was mostly upset about losing.
It's okay.
I'm so sad. Not only did I not win the challenge, but my best friend just went home. So I'm like...
It's really about Britta. It was about Britta. It's about Britta.
I just cared about my friend.
It really sucks. The worst part about it is that my best friend just went home.
I'm sure that sentiment wasn't untrue, but it was just all the emotions were swirling, and she just kept talking about how it wasn't. I'm not being a sore loser.
Everyone back at home is going to be so upset that she went home. If there was any consolation, it could have been that I would have won this challenge.
I think it's Jackie or somebody's like, so Gigi, third win. Cut to Jan. It's just so rude.
Gigi, you've won 3 times. This is incredible.
Why does Marcia get all the trophies? Why does Marcia get all the good drawers? Yeah. Why does Marcia get everything?
It was funny because there was like a little bit of a conversation about Sherry also having won, but not in a while.
Yeah.
And I realized finally, I was like, but she already had won 3 challenges.
Yeah.
But I guess they're saying technically she didn't because she didn't win the lip sync.
Oh, so 2 and
one. She was like in the top 2, but she didn't win the lip sync. So I guess she didn't win.
Sure.
I mean, it's all nonsense, but yes.
The stats.
Oh yeah, where's Ben de la Creme's abacus?
I like that as like if they get her to just, you know, like move. Oh, like they've been doing with
like pop up in the corner, just like
pop-up video, like
yeah,
right, or just like they've been doing with our fierce Brock ally.
I'm a fierce Brock ally.
I'm a fully realized woman. So then Rue walks into the workroom in this like hibiscus Mad Hatter outfit.
I mean, it was a lot. I kind of liked it.
I didn't dislike it. Did you notice that the peaks and valleys of the top of her hat were like one was shorter and one was taller?
I didn't. I was too distracted by like the bow. It was like almost a pussy bow, but not quite.
Not quite. It was a sponsor-filled episode.
Oh, I love this outfit.
Completely on her own without being prompted by a producer, obviously.
Why, thank you. It is a Klein, Epstein, and Parker suit.
Yes.
All I wear.
Oh, funny you should mention my suit because it's a custom suit by Klein, Epstein, Parker. I'm like, okay.
Here's my P.O. box for you to send me free suits. I mean, it was just like aggressive. Like they need to
It was a lot.
They need to either be even more aggressive or they need to tone it back. Like it's in this weird place where I'm just like, oh, what?
It's like not even quite as bad as like Project Runway was, where it's like, designers, make sure to use good use of the blue fly accessory wall.
I mean, that was
you know,
like a literal commercial in the middle of the episode. Just like, and pause, bathroom break.
They need to figure out something either more organic.
Yes.
Or less.
Yes.
So quick commercial break, and we will be back with the whole episode. Lots more to come. Lots of shenanigans, do you call it? Shenanigans. Although I also like shenanigans.
But that sounds like we're fans. Like that's what she calls her fans. Shenanigans.
I mean, I like that actually a lot though, too.
Right? But Rue announces that the mini challenge, okay, you're going to have to help me on this. I was very confused. So they have to put together, I mean, I don't know how to explain this. Do you know how to explain this? Okay, they have to put together a Fab Fit Fun care package.
Yes.
You're going to be in pairs, and then they have to put together a care package for a different pair to specifically shade them at some sort of lunch.
Let's hear it for the ladies who lunch. Everybody rise!
Kiki?
A gay brunch, perhaps? I'm not sure.
I was so fundamentally confused when Rue was trying to explain this, and I was like, what's happening? And then I thought, once it gets started, I'll like put it together. And I was like, no, I still don't know. I still don't know what's happening.
I was so confused. I just kept going, wait, what? Wait, huh?
Huh?
What is this challenge? What?
What's going on?
At first I was like, oh shit, the library is open. Oh, they're gonna bring out those glasses. Yeah. Oh no, wait, Fit. Oh, another sponsorship. Oh, a box now with lotion and
Well, and it seems counterintuitive to, as your sponsor, you're gonna have people pick out products that you provide to specifically be shady and mean to someone about something.
And then further to have the main challenge be to create a product that would be featured in that box, but the joke is that they are shitty. So it's like,
I'm so confused, Andrew. Is this like replacing the library?
oh, I will be very angry
Right?
if that is the case.
But
Maybe.
oh boy, so then Ru pairs them up and then they all are putting together the boxes. And then for way too long, they awkwardly throw shade.
I just like to be a little bit more exciting, I guess.
Yeah, well, something's got to make up for the personality. We curated a box from Fab Fit Fun
At each other, and it was bad. Like it
was pretty bad.
This is literally the only things I wrote down because I was like, this is awkward and not funny. Crystal's hairy legs, loved it. With the high heels, and it was like real hairy. I was like, yes. Sherry's Muppet tits, I didn't know what was going on, but they were aggressive. That's all I wrote down.
Cool. I mean, I did think that Gigi and Jackie did a good job of both working together, creating a character, and being pretty shady, I guess.
They did the best of them, but I still thought this was on a whole awkward and not funny. The reason the library is so funny is because when you get into the specifics of things and you really make that a story and you tell that joke, and this was just sort of like, you need a towel to clean both your faces. You know, there was just like, it was just jokes I'd heard that were like, okay, sure.
Lola, dear, you know there are really only two things I dislike about you.
Really? What are they?
Your face.
No one had any like conviction behind their jokes. It was just sort of like, here's a sort of shady thing about you ish.
I think there was a lot of that, although I also feel like that's what the library has come to be a lot. It was just like, oh, Gigi, you and your two faces, you know, and you're like, okay, have we seen her be two-faced? I didn't know that was a thing. But at the same time, I disagree that there was some specificity, especially at the end with Sherry and Jan.
My darling, I know how much you've been struggling with your best friend leaving the competition.
At least I have some friends.
These were specific.
Jan was like, because they're both from New York, did you know?
New York, New York!
Jan was like, at least I have friends, or something like that to Sherry. And I was like, oh, bitch. I guess I just mean it wasn't fun.
Well, no. And again, I also was confused as to the product. Like, are we supposed to want one of these boxes? Is a box going to give you, like, every month you get random shit that's like, here's a terrarium and some weird lotion.
But
no
also,
thanks.
That wasn't that was just like to house like a succulent or something, right?
Well, they call those like mini terrariums.
Oh, okay.
Which is stupid.
I guess I
Yeah.
think of a terrarium having like a tarantula in them.
Well, I think the idea is that you would put dirt in the bottom and like a little succulent.
Sure.
In that little glass thing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand the challenge, and I also don't understand what the product is. So that's kind of a problem.
It seemed like a pretty big problem. I'm not gonna lie.
It was like a Sex in the City, like Cosmos lunch, but with shady care packages? I don't know.
Let's all drink to them.
I'm already drinking, dear.
It was very that. That's exactly, yeah.
They needed little Cosmos then or something. I don't know.
Ooh, that would have been fun. Some tea, some hot tea.
This tea is so hot. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh,
I don't think we're ever going to get Juju level library again, are we?
No. Well, maybe in All Stars 5.
I guess everyone's too nice this season.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Like there hasn't been any fun drama for sure.
Except
and
for
there hasn't even been that much.
Fuck you, and fuck you.
But that wasn't like drama.
I mean, it was. She shouted "fuck you" at everyone in the room. It was drama. Oh, but speaking of, did you get a chance to tune in with me and Heidi live on Instagram?
I didn't.
It was very impromptu.
I know. That's so fun.
We were talking about Satch Game, and we were talking about blackberries.
What berries are black?
Blackberries.
She was like, oh my God, I was gonna say Halle Berry, but then I didn't, and I was like, oh my God. She was like, you could see the wheels turning, and for just a brief moment, I was gonna say Halle Berry.
That would have been so good.
And then I was like, or Barry White.
Sure.
So anyway, that was really fun, and she's a delight.
Good. I love it. We'll have to figure out a way. Instagram doesn't let us do like a 3-person chat. So we'll have to just do Zoom chats or something. I don't know.
Well, we did get into a fairly in-depth conversation about Mortal Kombat, the movie. And,
okay, good.
And the soundtrack, and which characters we would play, etc. So she's on board to do a retro review of Mortal Kombat if we want. So
love it.
Zoom party.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mortal Kombat?
No.
Great. I was like, there's a high percentage of a chance that Andrew has not seen Mortal Kombat, so he won't have the nostalgia lens. Oh, it's gonna be so bad.
Oh no.
Mortal Kombat. Anyway, it's gonna be great.
So Jackie and Gigi win money and like a year of the boxes or whatever, and I was like, cool.
They're gonna have a lot of terrariums.
A lot of garbage, in all honesty. It just seemed like corporate gifting, like swag shit, you know? You're like, wait, is this a thing? This is a product?
Well, sure, it's nice to get stuff for free, but do I want this? No.
And so Ru announces that the main challenge is they have to create a commercial for Droop, a product on Droop, which is obviously Goop.
Yes.
And Ru had this whole weird thing of like, oh, that sound is my solid gold egg. It needs to come out.
It's time to pull out the solid gold goose egg. It helps keep my biorhythms in sync with the stock market.
Right. Okay, so this is my problem with the challenge. They talk about how it's supposed to be Goop or Droop, and you need to make something that's completely unnecessary, but also very expensive and like highbrow, right? And what everyone ended up doing was just an infomercial, which is different.
That is very true.
I mean, there was funny ones here and there, and they've done this infomercial thing before, but framing it as let's make fun of Goop, nobody really successfully did that.
Now that you say that,
yeah,
in some ways, because after watching it, I was like, oh, well, Sherry should be in the bottom too, because hers was terrible. What even the fuck was her product? But I guess in some ways, she was the most successful in terms of creating a nonsense product that's just expensive.
So that was the thing. I watched it and I was like, well, Sherry's was fucking terrible and confusing and a convoluted mess and she should be in the bottom. And then I watched everything back one more time again with not fresh eyes, but with a second set of eyes, right? And I was like, oh, actually, yes, she did, of all of them, do that the most successfully. But that's not what anyone did, and that's not really how they judged them. They judged them on infomercial status.
Right. It's not like they were like, oh, well, I mean, who knows what they cut of hers, but like, it's not like they ever said to anyone, oh, you didn't capture the droopery of it.
No, and I really wish they had leaned in.
Also, I wish they had brought Monique Hardin to be like, gooped.
Oh, I would have loved that. If she had directed them.
She would have been better and more qualified than fucking Fuckface.
I was trying to think of what we could nickname him because Absolute Dickbag is taken and Max Munchnick wasn't there. So maybe just Fuckface? That's pretty rude, but he was rude and not qualified at all.
At all?
I was yelling at the TV. Like I was like, I am so mad. What is going on right now? I was so angry.
Magic carpet merkins. And then we'll cut, and then I need someone to set the merkins while I hold this position.
Poor Jackie was like, and then I'm gonna freeze.
And then they'll appear when you hit play again.
What's going on? I mean, what?
And he was like,
I couldn't fathom this. Like, this is like the beginnings of cinema, right? It's like, it's the fundamentals. I was just like, what is even going on? Is she explaining this terribly? Why isn't Bryce literally right off camera standing by and just being like, bloops?
So if someone can grab those merkins and set them on this table.
Bryce, by all means, move at a glacial pace.
Because they still got the edit weird. It still didn't go seamless in the final.
Well, sure. She definitely should have said to Bryce before.
Yeah.
So I'm going to freeze, and then I need you to come put it on.
Right away.
Give him a heads up. That would have been helpful. But also the director, fuckface, I don't know what else to call him.
He was fundamentally so confused by the simplest trick of cinema that I was just like, have you watched TV? What is happening? But yes, Ru and Bob Harper come into the workroom to go around. It was crazy because he walked in and I was like, who is this? And then when they said it was Bob, I was like, oh my God, from Biggest Loser, he looks so different. Like I haven't seen him.
Oh, wait. Oh, is he a person?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously he's a person, but like, you know what I mean? He came out and I was like, who is this? And then Ru said something and I was like, oh.
So he was one of the trainers on Biggest Loser with Jillian.
That's yes.
Michaels?
Yeah.
I stopped watching Biggest Loser like 10 years ago, so I haven't seen him since.
Did he create The Biggest Loser? Was he like one of the branding people for that?
Not that I'm aware of. It was just crazy because I was like, oh, Bob, hey. Anyway, but yeah, they go around and they go to Heidi and she's doing her whistle and she's talking about her lotion and being soft and supple and everything. And then
Heidi's lotion is hydrating.
That could be my new name.
And I love when, as soon as Ru and Bob left, Heidi was just like, and cross that out, hydrate. Yes, great. She listened.
Loved it.
But I think that's part of the reason why she won. I mean, she was great, but Ru specifically was like, I'm mad at you for stealing my idea, but also you listened to me, so yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I think that definitely helped.
Yes.
Although Crystal also listened.
We'll talk about it. I think they both could have won.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%. Anyway, we'll get there. We'll talk about it.
So then they go to Jan. And I felt like he was really rude because because Ru asked her like, oh, well, you were really emotional and about not winning or something. And it was like, oh, it was because my friend left and fuckface is like.
I was upset to see one of my best friends leave.
It's not RuPaul's Best Friends race.
It's not, and that's why
I'm like a winner.
This isn't RuPaul's Best Friend race.
He was like shutting her down. He was being very rude, in my opinion. I was like, whoa.
And it carried through to filming. So then they go over to Jackie and she's talking about I Dream of Jeannie, which I love because I love I Dream of Jeannie. And how in the first episode, apparently Barbara Eden spoke Persian and like that was such an inspiration to her to like see herself in some way represented on screen and everything. And I love I Dream of Jeannie.
I fucking love I Dream of Jeannie. And I started watching it again somewhat recently and I was like, I still love the show.
It's great. Because even though I always liked Bewitched, I was always like, fuck Darren, get out of here. Go fucking be by yourself. Hang out with Andorra and Uncle Albert. Uncle Albert?
Yes.
Or he was Albert in... No, it's
He was Albert in Bye Bye Birdie.
Or Dick Van Dyke is Albert.
He's Albert.
Uncle...
Alan, just like Alan Rosie. So yeah, no. I think he's Uncle Albert or something like that.
Anyway, Paul Lind, it was always like so much more fun. And then Darren would show up and be like, you have to be a housewife. And I'd be like, fuck all the way off. But I Dream of Jeannie, there was similar weird politics going on. But she was always like, bitch, I'm doing whatever I want.
I will say his friend
was gross.
It was gross. I mean, that was always the joke, but like gross.
He's a full grosso.
Kind of like Bob Fuckface.
Well, he wasn't gross. He was just an ass.
No, he wasn't gross. He wasn't gross.
It was almost like he didn't know why he was there.
I don't either.
Oh, I wish they'd gotten Gwyneth.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Oh, it'd be so good.
She had no idea. She wouldn't even know that I was never on RuPaul's Drag Race.
What do you mean?
You were in Spider-Man.
No.
So quick commercial break and we will be back with the filming of the commercials with Bob the Fuckface. I don't know what we're calling him, but that's what he's named now. It's just
is there a better name we can think of that's like if he has a blog named something and then we could think of a pun for it or so. You know what I mean? But
right, but they just listed like brand manager or some weird thing. I was like, okay.
Bland manager? Are we not mad at that?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, up next, Bob, the bland manager.
Yeah. So we're on set with Bob, the bland manager. Has he ever directed anything? Has he been? I mean, like, I was so confused. It seemed like he didn't even know what a camera was. I was like, what's going on?
First up is Jackie with her magic merkins, and, you know, she's gonna do that, and poof, it's there. And this was just so the basics for me that I was just so confused.
What was frustrating too was that he wasn't helpful. They were very unproductive sessions. The workroom walkthroughs didn't seem to help either, where it was like, oh, well, you know, the idea is really that it's like Goop, but Droop. And so you want something that's like stupid expensive, but you don't really know if there's any science or reality behind it.
Yeah, and then next up is Gigi Good. And I mean, they didn't spend any time with her at all. He was like, you're boring. And I was like, yeah, this is boring. And then they were like, anyway, next. It was weird.
Good night, bitch.
Give me something different with good night, bitch.
Good night, bitch.
It was frustrating because I thought that his feedback was fair and that it was like, well, maybe we try some different readings of like, good night, bitch. You know, or like it was like good night moon, but it was good night, bitch.
Oh, I mean, now that would have been great. If she was
when
like,
she said good night, bitch, that's what I thought it was.
I thought she was doing her Maria Sophia the robot and just being like, what's up, bitch? Except it was good night, bitch. I don't know.
Well, that's what she ended up serving.
Right. But I love the idea of her like reading good night, bitch to the pit crew to get them to fall asleep. There was like a weirdness of like, why do you need to drug yourself unconscious for sleeping? I just didn't know where it was going, and it didn't go anywhere funny. I mean, the goopery was not there.
But I think she was trying for the goopery, where she was like, oh, it's made with, you know, special ingredients, and it's $2,000 or whatever, and it's...
Yeah, but then it needed to be like, here's this magic rock that you rub, and it puts, you know, you put your vibes into it, and then it makes you fall asleep and have sweet dreams. Like, make it really dumb then. I don't know.
Sure.
Like if Crystal, don't get me wrong, love Crystal's mullets, but if we wanted to do the goopery, like she should have been selling crystals and been like, now you need to charge them in the full moon and then they'll like their full power and expectancy. And then you got to, you know, like go for it if we're doing that. But that's not what anyone did.
I mean, I do like crystals.
Yes, it's great. And then next out was Jan. I really liked this. I was confused. Bob was like, you have too much energy. You're crazy. You're coming in like you're crazy. And I was like, it means it's high energy, but I don't know. I wasn't mad at it. Were you mad at it?
It's the high energy, high belting bitch from season 12. Wow.
All right, just know this. You're coming off very intense right now.
Yes and no. I disagreed with him. I did kind of agree with Ross at the end of like, you need levels. If you're just at 11 all the time, then it's always just 11.
Yes, but for an infomercial, it worked for me.
What's his fuck with OxyClean or whatever, right? That was always like, I'm here, da 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 da, and here they're only $19.99. You can, you know, it was like very that.
I didn't mind it. I was into it, and then the fact that Bob was immediately just like, you've got too much energy. I'm like, what are we doing? And the whole thing is they're always saying, go for more and we'll draw you back. Like,
right.
And this was the opposite.
Introducing the all-enhancing spray to make your simple life Jan-tastic.
Breathe, Jan. Breathe, honey.
I mean, I guess he was drawing her back because he was such an expert and qualified.
No.
I mean, we'll get to it later on, but like, I thought it was too jam-packed. I think she could have taken one thing out and it would have had more time to like breathe and flow. Instead, it seemed like it was constantly just like, oh, this thing, now this thing, now this thing, this is like,
that
was
it was a different kind of infomercial for me, and I was fine with it because I was entertained the whole time. And I think having too many ideas and being too much is so much better than being boring. And there was so many other ones that were straight up boring that I was just like, what is happening?
The next is Jada, and I thought she did great with this too.
Remember she just kept hitting her mic?
Oh my God, yes.
Damn, she said. And you're right. I am.
Oh, fuck.
Damn, she said.
Don't hit your mic.
God, what was that weird Matthew McConaughey scene where he was like, and he kept like hitting his chest and was that Wolf of Wall Street?
She was snatched.
You gotta stop hitting your mic. I was on a whole underwhelmed by everyone's products.
Sure.
Just like, because it's like, oh, tucking panties. Yeah, sure, of course. Like, there was just, I wanted people to get really dumb with it. Like, this is useless.
I get that. I guess for me, hers was silly where it was like woven from the silk of tarantulas.
There was details. We'll get there. I liked it. But just like on a whole, I was like, oh, tucking panties. Okay.
Sure. I guess, was it called Droop because it's both a pun on droop, like, goop, but it's drooping, but also drag goop, like it's goop for drag queens?
Yes.
Because like then Swarovski or whatever fucking diamond tucking panties with tarantula silk makes more sense, where you're like, oh, it's like high-end drag goopery, whatever nonsense. Yeah.
Yes, that does make more sense, yes. So next up is Heidi, and at first she's really kind of nervous about everything, and she's being really funny every time she's not on script and not on camera, and I did think that was good advice. Bob was like, just do you, like, be fabulously you. And then she just let loose and was like being nuts, and I loved it.
Loved it.
She's fab.
With tears, with the face.
My tears.
Oh, God. Mama got a lot of personality, and if that's what they want on camera, that's what I'm gonna give them.
Cracked me up.
Yep.
So the next was Widow, and she also was kind of too in her head.
Kind of.
She kept forgetting her lines, couldn't get a rhythm going.
She just seemed really hung up on like trying to read the script that she had written.
Dante is GMO free, cruelty free. Oh, forgot the next line.
She never figured out what her point of view was or what was going on. Like, she kept saying things like, it's organic. And
philanthropist.
I'm a philanthropist and it's non-GMO. And there was like bits of pieces of things. And I was like, yeah, I guess, sure. But then when she was like, oh, and it's like for your throat so you can blow people. But then also it's mace. But like, I'm like, why would you put mace in your mouth? There was just like a lot of things happening.
Well, yes, it was. I think what was her big downfall was that she overwrote it for herself.
Yes. But then next out is Crystal Method. Oh my God. This look, just every time I saw it, I cackled. Just cackled. There's something about like how she painted but then the hair and this like big business 80s like sparkle. I was so obsessed with this look. And
obsessed with this look.
Laugh every single time I saw it. She's like, oh, we need a science table for science. Yeah, that was
for science? Can we just do something that's like science? And she's hammering.
I need just a table that we can do science on.
Is that a science table, Crystal?
Oh, hot.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So we're back in the workroom. Everyone's getting ready, and apropos of nothing.
And I also want to say, like, I was just upset about Britta leaving.
And then I got so nervous because Sherry Pie is like,
talking about sisters.
Speaking of sisters.
This was so awkward.
And I was like, oh God, what sob story is Sherry gonna awkwardly introduce this week? Oh, well, speaking of sisters, Jan, doesn't your sister have some fatal disease? And I was just like, oh God.
It's 3 weeks in a row now that Sherry, I think, has been like, oh, speaking of mothers.
Mother.
And your dad? It's just like, next week it's going to be like, what about your brother? Tell me more. It's so weird.
Luckily, it was just, oh, who can do an impersonation of one of the other queens on the season?
Oh, this was fun. Everyone's doing Jan.
Hey, guys. Really emotional this week. Okay, everybody, I'm so excited. We're in the workroom again today. I'm just here living my fantasy.
I love Jackie comes back, though, and it's just like, I can only do Crystal?
Well, I don't really have any impressions of anyone except for Crystal Method.
Her, like, spot on Crystal, by the way.
Spot on.
Look, I'll be Aiden.
I'm Aiden.
And then I was wondering if this was what inspired Crystal's boo.
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 Next week, they're going to be like, oh, my third cousin. Should we talk about this?
Speaking of third cousins, don't you have a cousin who... So quick commercial break, and we'll be back with the runway. Category is Black Wedding.
It's a
Why is it got a wedding?
For a black wedding. Right.
I definitely thought of that, but then no one did that. But then I was like, I guess it's white wedding, not black wedding. So
But I'm not mad at somebody like doing some Billy Idol cosplay, wedding dress.
I'd be down.
I could have used a little more variety this runway, I'll be honest.
Absolutely. So Ru comes out, and I liked this. It was very Ru. She kind of had like a weird giant palm vagina situation going.
So it's all these like golden Hawaiian looking kind of like palm frondy flowery appliques, but then she's got this like peplum where they're not connected and they were like flippy flapping around, and I was like, ooh, if those had been pinned down, it would have like looked better, because it looked like she had a golden hula skirt, mini skirt, vagina situation.
I mean, it was like right, yeah. I don't know.
And Shaka Khan is there, I think.
Zulus celebrate a holiday that was named in honor of this warrior leader of the early 1800s.
Shaka Khan.
No. Sarah.
Who is Shaka Khan?
No. Matt. Who is Shaka Zulu?
I mean, she's fabulous and great and whatever, but I also was just like,
I was like, girl, are you okay?
Shaka Khan, tell me something good.
A lot of money.
I mean, it was just like real out there. And I was like, okay. Aside from giving Widow a fucking pep talk during Untucked, she didn't really add much to the judging experience.
It was a little...
I will talk about, I love that she was just like, what's a merkin?
I mean, if you don't know what a merkin is, you're very naive.
Very naive.
If you don't know what a golden shower is, it's very naive.
But also, if you don't know what a merkin is after she just had an infomercial for merkins, that might be a problem.
A merkin is a wig for your very own cave of wonders. Jackie's magic carpet merkins will spruce up any queen's look.
It was kind of self-explanatory in the infomercial, to be fair.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Jackie,
did you not watch it?
Did you experience it?
I think you did a great job.
Did she make you want to buy a merkin?
What is a merkin? It's a vagina wig.
It should have been like a bedazzled merkin.
Ooh.
Because like merkins already exist.
Right. What if it was like Widow's Veil, but like as a merkin?
Love that.
So category is Black Wedding.
I don't know. It should have been called like Black Widows or something. I mean, I know it's weird because like widow, but
everyone went so literal with it, and it didn't seem like there was really any room to not go literal. I mean,
except for Crystal.
But even then, it was still Black Wedding. It was just like, oh, she's a zombie bride.
She took it a step further.
Yes, she did.
I was surprised that no one did like a famous wedding dress, like Princess Di's wedding dress, or like, I was thinking how amazing would it have been if someone had done one of Elizabeth Taylor's 8 wedding dresses.
Sure.
Because there's this one one of the times when she married Richard Burton, it's sort of caftan-like, and then she's got this fuck off like ponytail going down the back that's just full of all these daisies, and it's very flower child, and I was like, yes, Elizabeth Taylor, yes.
So what, you would do that with black?
Yes, just do that, but then like with the, I don't know, I think it could have been fun with like real blonde hair, and then you got these black flowers going all down your ponytail. Something. I mean, nobody went Miss White from Clue.
Oh, which would have been perfect, because didn't we just talk about that?
Yes,
for
I was
Gigi?
like, oh, there's someone, like Gigi's gonna do Miss White from Clue. That would have been so good if you were all covered and you had the hair and then it's white on the inside. Oh,
looking pale and tragic.
He just lies around all day. That could have been fabulous. Or do Joan Cusack's off the shoulder look, but in black.
Oh my God.
And also with the electrocuted hair, maybe?
That's what you do. Maybe it was like the wedding dress, it was white, but then it got charred all over when you got electrocuted, and you have 2 cables in your hands that are like frayed at like and wiry at each end and just dragging.
This is what I'm talking about, Andrew.
That would have been so good.
It would have been everything and more.
What about Debbie?
Debbie.
Sorry, Deb. Graceful.
The best.
No.
But
anyway, first up, Jackie Cox. And I thought this is maybe the best that she's looked.
This was my favorite look of hers. It was still period piece, but didn't feel costume-like. It was very like, you know, she says like 40s, you know, war widow waiting for him to come home, and then it's a funeral instead of a wedding. She has a whole thing. The veil, the layers all worked together. It was very beautiful.
It was. I didn't really get the story that she was telling, but they seemed to, so that's great.
Shaka Khan said it herself. She's a good actress.
The black wedding has become a funeral.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
I don't know how she could have done it better. She was, you know, like a 1940s war widow.
She was the woman from The Spirit of Christmas after he died.
Okay, but that was not from the 40s, Andrew. That was from
Nobody knows when it was from, April.
That's true. We don't know.
It was simultaneously Civil War and World War II. No one knows.
It's a mystery. That movie is really the gift that keeps on giving. So the next on the runway is just Jen. And I mean, has she ever looked more gorgeous? Her mug was beat. I was into it.
I thought this was also really great. I preferred this look-wise to Jackie's. I mean, not to compare them for random reasons, but I mean, obviously there was the point of the runway, but
them specifically.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why it was just in succession. I was like, oh wait, this is much better.
This was beautiful, and all these different textures really worked. She had the sparkling, but then the tulle, but then the feathers, and somehow the palette all went together. Where other people, there was fabrics that I was like, oh, that didn't work as well together. This was great. I love this.
I agree. Well, they seemed to love it too. They really did. And that was why I was so confused that she was in the bottom two. Sure, her commercial wasn't great. I also thought there were people that had worse ones and that had worse looks.
Yeah. I thought she was fully safe.
Yeah.
I was really confused. Well, and then when she turns around and says, I don't on the back. At first I only saw don't and I was like, what?
Because the way she turned, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That kind of cheapened it for me, and it wasn't that funny.
I agree. I think part of the problem was just that it was this weird, Helvetica. If it was a embroidered font or something.
You know in all the old cartoons when there's the birds are holding up a ribbon that says just married across it?
Yes.
That vibe. If it had been it was on the back of a car and it was just married, but instead it was I don't, then maybe that would have been better.
I like that. If it was a sash, a black sash, and it said in maybe silver or gold even. Instead it was just white Helvetica stick-on letters, I was like, no.
Even so, I think she could have sold that story without it and just been take back your ring, this piece of tin! We can take this piece of tin!
This piece of tin! But also that was weird. I was confused in that she was I'm gonna swallow the ring.
Oh, did she do that? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she
was keeping it for later?
I guess, oh, I'm not getting married, but I'm going to keep the ring. You get it out of me somehow? I don't know.
Maybe she was escaping from a bad situation?
At first I was like, ooh, is it an arsenic pill? What's going on, She
starts bleeding out of her mouth.
That was right, she's dead now. Ooh, it's a black
I
wedding.
won't marry you, evil baron, even if it costs my life.
That would have been a story.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised nobody found a way to start as white and then somehow dye themselves or release something or have a quick a 2-in-1 look. Or I was surprised there wasn't a 2-in-1 situation.
So then next is Jada Essence Hall, and oh my God, did she look stunning!
All I wrote down was perfection.
Yep, I gagged.
I mean, the fit was impeccable. The wig, the mug, it was perfection. Next on the runway is Gigi. And okay, I liked this a lot. There was something slightly off about the silhouette for me. There was either the skirt needed to be an inch longer or inch shorter, or she didn't have any tits, but then it was too bouncy. There was it was so minuscule, but there was something off about it and I couldn't quite figure it out. It was so minuscule because she says it's a Dior thing. She looks like Audrey Hepburn in Funny Face in the wedding dress. I mean, it was very that, but we're nitpicking, but she is she has to keep bringing it.
So the next is Sherry Pie, and this was very elaborate.
Yes.
She had these
There's
kind of
a little subtle shade right there. This was very elaborate.
Well, it was too much for my personal taste, but I did understand that she was very good at telling the story in it. She had this candle and
yes.
the bloody eyes or whatever.
It
And
was very like Miss Havisham. I've been locked up in my house waiting to be married for the past 50 years. But almost like do that and have yourself be covered in dust and have it be that like you could peek through the white of the dress, but it's been so years of degradation. Something.
Sure. This was also giving me some Dante's Cove.
Oh my God, right? Because it was sort of like period, but like not.
Yes.
Really?
It was like the first episode of Dante's Cove with her and like that weird, like if she was down in the dungeon, like playing with some locked up, you know, boy, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
The kiss of a young man will set you free.
I shall find a young man. A young man will desire me.
I like that story better, honestly, than the Miss Havisham, I'm a ghost, whatever the fuck. It was like, ooh, and I went through the bookcase and the secret passage, and I'm, instead of the woman in white, I'm the woman in black, and I'm, woo.
Powers of treason.
He only wanted my power, and to master the powers of treason.
I think she needed to be a little more disheveled or something, because I know she was being like ghosty, but if she was doing Miss Havisham, you know, it should have been more like, and I haven't bathed in 30 years, you know, that kind of thing. So then next down the runway is Hi-Ho. Heidi walks down the runway with this big, it was like, she was wrapped up like a present with this big bow sleeves around her, and her waist was, talk about snatched. It was a really cool silhouette where she was snatched in the middle, but then there was also, not a cape, but like a train or whatever.
It was though, I think.
It like framed her very well, is what I'm saying.
It was fascinating and stunning, and I couldn't quite figure it out. Because when she would move, then it would be like, oh wait, it's just a dress. Oh wait, but it's, oh.
It had like an 80s flair to it with this lacy over the top. Oh my God, if they'd done that, no one's gonna care. But if they had done, someone had done the wedding dress for my stepmother's an Alien with a whole back to her ass is cut out. I mean, you can't see her ass, but it's like right above the crack. And it's a huge cutout of a heart. And then it's like lace all the way around. And then it's like long sleeved lace. And just, oh, but it's so good.
Next is The Widow. And this was also for me too kind of busy. I liked the chainmail veil-ish.
That was kind of the most interesting part for me. I loved this beaded turban hair.
Yeah.
Love that. I think she needed that big satin bow overskirt thing that she then takes off in the lip sync.
Right.
It's much better without it.
This was fine, nothing special for me.
I liked the turban. And then she had that weird makeup.
Yeah, her kind of creepy, like the big black beady eyes and the crazy makeup.
She's like a demon. I don't know. I wasn't obsessed with the references this week.
No.
So last on the runway is Crystal, and I fucking love this. I was obsessed with this.
Loved it.
She comes out, she's Corpse Bride, you know, it was almost like Lady Beetlejuice. She's patting her wig and the dust is falling off. And or she kind of looked like Hocus Pocus.
But it would be like his bride.
Yes, it was very that. I loved it. Or even it kind of gave me slight Veronica from Heather's vibes at the end when she's like exploded. It just had that fun kind of like macabre-ness to it.
I thought this was everything.
I thought this was everything. I was obsessed. Every time I looked at it, I laughed and was also like, oh, bitch. I love that she was like...
My gloves are even ripped at the fingertips because when you die, your nails keep growing.
Because your fingernails keep growing after you're dead. And I was like, what? I love it. The details.
Yes.
I think this was my favorite look of the night.
Absolutely.
Because it was the most different, was also like even more my favorite.
So quick commercial break, and we will be back with the commercials. The infomercials, the goopery, the droopery, it was pretty... So the commercials, first up is Jackie Cox, and I thought this was fine.
This was real infomercially, which I guess was the challenge?
Right. I mean, it's confusing. It's kind of a bad challenge in the sense that, like, anything on the Goop is not going to have an infomercial, but they're not going to do, like, some weird, like, online article about it. You're like, I don't know, like, what are they going to do, an Instagram ad? Like, so...
Or, like, didn't they do, like, a documentary series on Netflix of, like, we're trying all this crazy stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a thing. I
don't know,
watched
that's
it.
silly.
I saw like an ad for it.
I'm actually not angry though at like the idea of like you have to make an Instagram ad.
I mean, that's like real world skills though.
I mean, maybe no one is young enough that's working on the show to think of stuff like that, but like it takes a more modern idea and approach. Now, I mean, you would have to have a good judge because like RuPaul is going to be like, well, this wasn't like an infomercial at all. And you're like, well, that's not the challenge.
Well, that was the thing. Michelle was like, I love this. All of your old infomercial references were so great, you know, for you and today and da-da-da. And while I like that, and that is a funny joke to do, it's dated. And I think you're right. It would have been such a more interesting and appropriate skill set to be like, you can do a whole video, but it's an Instagram ad. And that's different.
Sure.
And I love I love that idea. They need to revamp these challenges.
Yes. Also, though, I don't think that she did a particularly great job of selling the merkin. Again, Shaka Khan didn't know what a merkin was after the commercial for a merkin. That's problematic.
Is that on Jackie, though?
I mean...
I don't know if we can blame Jackie for that one.
Did your mom know what a merkin was after?
She didn't ask. She seemed to know.
Okay.
Can I text her? Phone a friend. Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When we were watching the episode,
Yeah.
did you know what a merkin was?
No.
You didn't?
No, but I didn't want to interrupt you and ask.
But did she know what it was after the commercial?
After you
before she
watched the commercial, did you know what it was?
It looked like a yoni hairpiece.
Yeah, that's what it is. So then you didn't need to know, like when Shaka Khan asked what it was, you had already figured it out at that point.
Well, she didn't know either, but then when I saw the visual from the commercial.
Okay, good. Good to know. We were just wondering.
Okay. Oh, wait for them there. All right. I learned something new. Didn't know I needed to learn that, but yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh my God. Well, so yeah, so there you go. So I guess the commercial did tell you enough. Ish.
But she literally put a wig on her crotch, so come on.
Well, right.
I mean, whether or not you know its usefulness or its purpose or whatever, you can like visually be like, I see, she put a wig on her crotch. Great. So the next up is just Jan. And I mean, I honestly thought this was fun.
Introducing Sure Jan, the all-enhancing spray that'll make your simple life Jan-tastic.
Sure, Jan.
This was fine. It was silly and fun, and there were things that I laughed at. One, for me, it was a lot of the same typical tropes that we've seen other people do.
Yep.
You know, it's hard. I don't think that anyone's gonna have one as successful as Alaska's.
I mean, Jan had all this energy, and I thought like the contrast between, you know, her Marcia or whatever, the Janesty, and when she was just nerdy Jan was really fun.
Yes, it was. Well, and I didn't love the term Jantasy.
It was okay.
It was just okay. I was like, this was fine.
It was fine, but I was entertained.
Sure.
When she was singing, she had like the braces for when she was singing. Like there were specifics to the Brady Bunch movie that I appreciated.
Hi.
And it seems like Ru hated being on that set or something.
You have to be true to yourself, Jan. And if other people don't like it, I know it can be a real drag.
And decided that was like, I hate this. I hate you. Goodbye.
I mean, I've gotten that vibe from Ru this entire time.
It's weird.
It is, you know, it's funny because I was looking back at our review for last week when I was like, basically they said to her, there's no way you'll ever win. Well,
yeah,
turns out I was right much sooner than I expected. I thought she was going to go a lot further still, but like...
They just didn't like her and they just edited it to convince us she was bad. Even though, I mean, we're seeing right through it.
Well, I'm sure they're kicking themselves now that they... Because I would have put Sherry in the bottom two instead.
Honestly, I would have put Sherry or Gigi and then give Gigi that... Because like every winner is so much better when they have that lip sync. Like Evie and Brooklyn's lip sync was like, fuck, this was like what I needed. And like, this is why I want her to win even more now. And like, they kind of need that fall from grace to then be like, bitch, I'm here. So I honestly almost would have put Gigi down there.
I mean, sure. For me, I thought that Gigi and Jan's were equal playing field.
Gigi's was so boring.
I didn't think it was that. I laughed a couple times in hers, and I thought it had just as many missteps as Jan's did.
I thought Gigi's was boring and borderline, like, rude, cocky, annoying.
I don't know. I cackled when she goes, "Hi, I'm Gigi Good, and I'm better than you."
For just $18,500, or roughly the prize money for 3 maxi challenges and 2 mini challenges.
And I've added up my prize money, and this is how much it costs. And I was just, there was something weird about it, particularly maybe because Heidi had that conversation earlier about like only making $9,000 last year. There was something weird, like I was tainted towards Gigi somehow, where I'm like, she's walking out here in her fucking Louboutin red bottoms, talking about all this prize money. There was something where I just slightly went, bitch.
I guess. I think that was her trying to play up the goop factor of it, right? The whole brief was that it was supposed to be something outrageously expensive and whatever.
Yes, but she specifically was like, oh, whatever, 3 odd challenge wins and a couple of mini challenges. This is how much it costs. You know what I mean? Something about it just left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know.
Okay. I also just don't think that they were ever willing to put Gigi in the bottom 2 against Widow and have it risk, like, it was such a specific song and circumstance that it was highly unlikely, despite how sweet it was, I thought, for Widow to bring it up, it was highly unlikely that they both would stay.
I mean, Jan unfortunately saw the writing on the wall because she's seen this show and was just like, oh.
Yeah. Next, though, was Jada Essence Hall, and I really liked this. I mean, it was so silly with the tarantula silk. And
these panties are sourced from the silk of rare tarantulas found in the Glamazonian rainforest.
It's spun from endangered tarantulas from the Glamazon.
Like, that's silly.
It was silly. I like this a lot. Oh, hi, I'm Jada, the terrible actress from Grey's Anatomy. Like, it was really fun.
Yes.
And there was a lot of, like, physicality with the tape. Like, she did a lot of stuff, and it was clear. The concept was, like, and here it is. And, yes, of course, you need diamond-encrusted, tucking panties. Like, yes, now that you say that, like, thinking back, that does make more goopery sense.
Right. Oh, it's the drag goop. So it's like the fancy drag product that no one actually needs or it would exist. Like silk tarantulas now? From where? Okay. When you really break it down, if you're going to judge it off of that brief of Droop, she did a decent job.
I thought she was fun and great. So next up was Gigi. We kind of already talked about it.
I really wanted to be more Goodnight Moon.
I would have loved that. And she's tucking the pit crew to sleep. Again, though, like, what is this product? Why she needed to be knocked the fuck out and sleeping? I didn't really care for this. It was boring.
It was. I didn't think that the concept was great, although there were parts of it that made me laugh. I really cackled out loud when she was like, I'm better than you. Just the way that she said it matter-of-factly. But then she lost so much of that energy. And a better director could have helped her fix it. It was frustrating because I was gonna say if there was like an assailant, right, and she's like maces him and he's like, whoa, and then she sprays it in his mouth and he passes out and she'd be like, good night, bitch. Maybe then it's like self-defense tool, but why? And
what does that have to do with goop and what does that have to do with drag?
Does that have to do with anything, bitch?
It's a flawed concept.
It's a flawed concept. She wanted to get good in there.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, campers. Good morning, mister.
Ooh, if it was just like some sort of like methamphetamine, but not,
Yeah, like pep up, like gotta keep going, going.
Yeah, Gigi's good morning go-go juice.
Sparkle. That could have been more fun, yeah.
So the next was Sherry Pie, and I just honestly didn't get that. Her aura pie, and it's just a pie.
I mean, that is kind of the goopery, but the first half or so of it, when she was just like, are you sick and tired of counting all of your money? It seemed like she was saying, here, this pie will help you count your money. And I was really confused.
Nothing better to do than count your money. And if you're tired of counting your money...
But then when I watched it back, it was like, oh no, it's just like, oh, we're stupid rich. Yeah. All I have to do is count my money. Do you want to spend your money?
It was that. And I was just like, well, what's this? I mean, that's not a product. You're just asking people to give you money for a pie. I mean, I guess that's the griftiness of Goop.
Maybe have more details in the pie itself. Like, and these are, you know, freshly picked boysenberries from my backyard that I've cultivated with my own manure from my handmade toilet. Something like,
right.
You know.
Really, you should lay in all of the nonsense of why it's $350 a slice. Yeah. Rather than just, ooh, it tells you auras. I don't know what any of that is, but it does.
What's an aura?
Yeah.
What is an aura?
I didn't love this.
Nope, didn't care for it. So then next up is Heidi and her Heidi's Hydrates lotion, multi-purpose lotion. This was really fun and funny, and she utilized the visuals really well, and it was quick, and it was viral. It was great.
Yeah, it was concise. It was funny. She made good face and silly jokes.
It's made from tears of a drag queen. Me. Just all of this. And it may cause mood swings.
I told you it could cause baldness.
Heidi's Hydrates may cause hair loss, mood swings. Bitch, I told you it could cause hair loss.
The mood swing thing really got me.
All of those.
And it may cause mood swings. And then her whistling, it's soft and supple. Every time she whistled, Dharma was like...
Made from silks and satin, as well as tears of a drag queen.
But I do think there was like this ever so slightest of a missed opportunity. She's like, it's $69.99 and 96 cents. And I was like, it should have been and 96 cents.
I love that. Oh my God, that would have been funny. I guess it had aired.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Who knows?
I know, right? The next was The Widow. And I mean, like we said, this was pretty low energy. She never really got it together.
They all just started to blur together at a certain point. It was like, and it's this product, and it'll give you a makeover. And then here's like a bunch of different things it can do. And then here's maybe some side effects.
Right.
And this was so low energy, you could really pick apart like, oh, these are the bullet points that everyone else used, but these just didn't come together.
Exactly. The concept of like the gag be gone or whatever it was called, I didn't quite get. Right. It was like, oh, well, is it?
It was mace, it was setting spray. And I was like, well, wait, okay, so is it supposed to stop you from gagging?
Yes, because you're gagging.
So
on her.
So then the concept should have been she walks into a room and then the pit crew is just like, bleh, and she's like, do you have this problem? It's just like, every time you walk in a room, you're just so gag worthy. And they're like, you're just like, this will help. And like she sprays it on them and they're like, oh, I got it. I don't know.
That would have been a lot better.
Also, I really thought the wicker chair was a mistake. She should have been standing. There was something like, because everything was like sleek and modern and leather and, you know, like cool, right? And then she's got this like white wicker 90s chair. And I was like, what's going on now? What's happening? What's this? So next up is Crystal. Boo.
Boo.
I hope Aiden comes to the reunion whenever the fuck they film it as like a ghost or something.
I mean, that'd be silly. Good for her. Lean into it.
Thought I was a ghost anyway. Boo. But oh my God, Crystal's commercial, her magic mullets.
Science.
Goddamn, it took her long enough to lean into this mullet. That's apparently all that Ru wanted. I'm honestly surprised she didn't win the challenge just because she brought out a mullet.
Insane. He's obsessed with it.
This look, literally every time it popped up, I cackled.
Yeah.
It's just something about it was so good. Yeah. Her like fake other person with the blonde wig in the like 80s mall. It was dated in the right way that I really enjoyed.
Crystal, I thought hers was probably the best. I don't know.
It was so close.
I think hers had a little bit more of like a fully flushed out, well, I don't know.
It was so close. I honestly think they both should have won. With the headband mullets, and they're made from old squirrel tails and raccoon tails, and like the science of it all, and then we're gonna put it on the pit crew. Like it all was really good. And in the filming, Bob clearly had no idea what was happening because she was just like, she knew, like you could tell she had like storyboarded it and like visualized it and was like, and then this and then this, and it's all gonna come together, bam.
Yeah.
And then it.
That's right. I forgot in the filming he was like, what's going on? And she was just like, it's cool, I have a plan. Fuck you.
She basically didn't use him at all. He just stood there. And so he was like, Murr.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a close call, but and Crystal's runway was so good.
But so was Heidi.
It was close. But Heidi wins. Yay! and they have to lip sync to This Is My Night by Shaka Khan. I thought this was a good lip sync. I mean, it started, Jan is spending a lot of time on a quick change, and they showed Widow like uninterrupted for like 10 to 15 seconds. So I was like, oh no. A solo lip sync for a very large portion. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, once they said Shaka Khan, I was like, oh, I don't know, Jan. And then once it started and Widow was just slaying it, and Jan was like fumbling here and then fumbling here, and I was like, oh, it's done.
At least give me some Little Kim or something, shit.
God damn, you couldn't give me a Little Kim song?
Widow was killing it. Definitely won the lip sync. She showed me a variety from her first one. Because remember, the first lip sync, we were like, oh my God, this is, what is she going to do? This is she did everything. And this showed some restraint and some real, like, I'm singing this song and I am Shaka Khan. And I was like, yes, bitch. But I thought once Jan figured out her costume change, it was a little frenetic. It was a little try too hard, but it was also really fun. And there was a lot of energy and dance moves. And she, like, it wasn't like a shutout, like she was bad.
No.
It just Widow.
No, I think it perfectly encapsulated Jan, in all honesty, on this competition at least.
Nice try, Jan.
This entire time, I think, was just so eager for them to see what she had and to praise her for what she had, that she became that overeager kid that, you know, why won't you love me? Why won't you love me? And then it ended up pushing them away.
I think I would go a little crazy too if for, what are we on, week 8? If for 8 weeks your parents who you look up to and adore completely ignored you and were like, you were fine. And then suddenly when you thought you did your best and they said, you were everything, you're safe.
Right.
And then they were like, we hate you, bye. I think I would kind of go nuts too, and have your best friend from New York be sent home.
Yes, also that. But then also, so like, yes, on top of all of those things, then to have Shaka Khan come back and...
But you are smarter than they are, and you could whoop it all. Anything negative, you could whoop its ass.
All right.
You have that power.
Literally just hold the hand of your competition who's gonna lip sync her song against you in 5 minutes. You have it. I believe in you and only you. It was just so much that I just was like, oh, poor Jan.
The curse of Jan.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what she should have done? Because in all the Brady Bunch movies, you know, she has the inner voice, the evil, like, you're nothing, Jan, you suck, you're terrible, or whatever. She should have done that.
No one loves you.
Watch my head spin. Kill. Shut up, you loser.
Jan, cut the crap.
Do you ever hear voices? Do you feel like, you know, whatever, and then have the, like, nerdy side of her just be, like, next to her? Something.
I like that. You could do, like, the product even as, like, inner saboteur be gone or whatever. Like, Ru would fucking love that.
It's like my head tells me to do different things.
Inner voices? Good. That's good. Let's explore that.
Yes! And then it was just like, you'll never be good enough.
Jan. Oh, Jan. Don't listen to her.
They'll always love Gigi more than you.
I'll go first because I'm the prettiest.
Yes, exactly. That would have been, actually, no, you know what you do? It's the pills from that stupid mini challenge, the glitter pills, the giant horse pills. And you go, oh, all you need is one of these. And like, you know, in a saboteur, be gone. And it's like, yeah, Gigi will always be better than you. And then she's just like choking back at
Take more.
Give me another one.
You're only good enough for safe.
That would have been really good.
Yeah, because then it was weird when they were judging Jan. Ross was like, oh, it was too much energy, and it was way too, like, confident and like, geez, calm down.
Ross needs to shut up.
Shut up, Ross. Sorry, it was just a reflex.
But also, I think that, like, none of them could really just pinpoint, or maybe they didn't want to say that it was just like the Tracy Flickness of Jan, of that, like, eagerness was putting them off.
It's just so weird that it wasn't putting us off in any way.
Yeah.
Not really.
I don't know. I think because she seemed to back it up.
Yeah. She wasn't like a bitch. She was just really talented and really excited to be there. Like, that's what I'm here for, because the show has become so, like, here we go, another fucking season. And the judges seem like, whatever, I don't give a shit. And everyone's trying to be all calculated about, like, and she was just like, hi, I'm here Jan! And I was like,
I love everything about this. I just want to be here and sing and be like, show what I can do. Yeah.
Yeah, it was earnest, and to me, it was infectious. So I'm sad.
Me too.
But Widow wins, and I do think she won.
Absolutely.
But it was also heavily edited for her favor.
Sure.
That's all I'll say. And maybe that helped Jan in some ways, because maybe she was even worse. I don't know. But it was like evident that they were like, she's the winner. We're showing her.
Yeah.
Jan, sashay away.
Jan, where are you going?
Someplace where I can be appreciated.
I don't think Jan should have been in the bottom to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. And then Untucked was a sorrowful. I mean, everyone was dressed like a widow, but it was just like, let's all sit around and be sad and talk about how sad we are. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was not particularly fun.
It wasn't fun at all. Literally, the only thing I enjoyed about Untucked was when Jan used her feathers of her dress to dry her tears. Well, and this whole awkward thing where Gigi is like, okay, I know that everyone just said like who they think should go home, but like, who do you think is everyone's biggest competition? Everyone say me. Okay, great.
I'm kind of interested in hearing who you all think is like your biggest competition.
You bitch, you don't won 12 challenges.
I can't help it if I'm popular. She's Gretchen Wieners. I can't help it.
I'm sorry that people are so jealous of me, but I can't help it that I'm popular.
Oh yes, Chaka comes back and gives Widow a personalized therapy session. I did love when she was like, I do a bit of drag too. I was like, yeah.
I also loved when she was like, oh, I mean it every time I sing.
Because I do a little drag too.
Girl, you got the heels.
Every time I sing it, I mean it.
Oh, and just a passing thought, because I was bored during Untucked because it was sad. Is Annie Lennox going to be a guest judge?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Instead of the rocker challenge from season 2, do like a synth new wave challenge.
I like that.
But anyway, I did notice, well, I mean, we're knocking out the New York queens. They're just flying out the door. Yes. Jada is the only queen left from the second week, other than Shuri.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That's crazy.
But yeah, we're just kicking these New York queens out. And one by one.
There's no more 5 New York girls.
5 New York girls!
5 New York girls!
The other queens should be shook because New York City is here to represent.
We're doing a countdown. 4 New York girls, 3 New York girls, 2 New York girls. So yeah, Jan goes home. She kind of got janned. She got Jan. She got the Jan edit. These shenanigans.
I like shenanigans better, but.
You guys vote.
Yeah.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans is just so much more absurd.
Sure.
So cheers to Jan. I'm genuinely going to miss her. She was so fun. She was such a light. And I'm sure she'll be on All Stars in like a month and she'll slay. It'll be great. And cheers to Shaka Khan.
Yeah.